What we're doing is talking about this awareness is really an evolution of consciousness. That's really what we're doing is we're evolving your spiritual self, right? Your higher self, right? Like if you look at any of the ancient documents, any of the ancient Bibles, they all talk about the existence of the I am. We see this in every tradition, in every spiritual discipline, the Om, the I am, the Amen, the Amen Ra, right? This is consciousness, and this is what you're evolving. It is your spiritual intelligence. We're going to do a small spiritual intelligence exercise tomorrow morning after our meditation. Really short, brief one. All of year 2, and I'm just completing it right now, so for those of you that are there, thank you for your patience, because you're ready to take this course and I haven't finished it, but it's written, which is year 2 of Soul Purpose Institute. It's understanding the 4 domains of spiritual intelligence. And it just took me a lot of years to understand it, and I don't understand it completely, which is why it's taken the time to write it. But what I do understand is this, at least how to explain. Feelings are your EQ. And a lot of what I'm talking about is managing the mind so you can manage the feelings. Remember I said that a lot of success is learning when an upset occurs to replace emotional reactions with principled responses. Okay? So that's how to manage your EQ. A lot of you and I have been working on EQ. And Daniel Goleman wrote this incredible book 12 years ago called Emotional Intelligence. Anyone ever read that book? It's a worthy read, okay? And then you want to be able to manage your IQ. And what I think about IQ is not just intelligence quotient, but innovative intelligence. How innovative are you in your ability to look at your practice, get clear about the harvest, what you want, your lag, about what you need to do on a weekly basis, your lead indicators, something that Oscar Kazim, who's gotten these incredible results every week, he's got these 4 things he does. If I asked him the 4 things, he'd rattle them off to you. He knows his lead indicators, does them every week. And here we're talking about lift. How do you lift your practice by managing the mind and innovating to stop doing certain things that are actually destructive to your results and start doing, in a 1-degree shift, things that are creative to results, create favorable conditions to manage the mind. That then is managing your body, your physical intelligence, really important. And I've been speaking to it kind of surreptitiously, right, in a kind of a tacit way in statements like nothing tastes as good as health feels, right? But managing the body. And for those of you that are in your 60s, or some of you may be in your 70s, it isn't getting any easier, is it? So if you start implementing these things now, if you happen to be lucky enough to be in your 30s and 40s and 50s, if you start implementing them as habits, success habits now, we know how long it takes to build a habit. It's 1.5 years. It's 1.5 years. That's what it is. Yeah, we thought it was, but in fact it's not. It's 21 days to really kind of become aware of it and start to break it. But what it really is, what was the book, the heart book? Gosh, I'm blanking. It'll come to me. I'm not going to think about it. It'll just flow up. But I'll tell you, there's a book that proved it was 1.5 years. Oh, Change or Die. Change or Die. It followed a bunch of heart patients, right? 95% of them made the necessary changes and lived, and 5% didn't. They died within 1 year. It was fairly predictable. But what they found was why it was so difficult for them to change, and they found as they tracked a rehabituating process of developing new habits, they found it was 1.5 years that it took people to eat properly and exercise as a way of being, as a way of life. So notice I said way of being. Be, know, do. Become aware that if you want to live, you got to know you're going to die if you don't do these things. And some people went, screw it, and they died. It's fairly predictable. Brian.
Just to clarify on that book, because it was really powerful. Actually, before going in, doctors just assumed 90% of them would not do it.
Right.
They were able to change it by surrounding themselves in a culture
of
literally
change.
Living there in a culture of change. Yep. And then after a certain period of time.
Thank you for saying that. It's important. They surrounded themselves in a positive environment that created favorable conditions to break their old habits. Think about surrounding yourself with toxic people. Think about what it's costing you. Right? Okay, great stuff. Thank you, Brian. And finally, your money, your FQ. And I think that the money is not what people think it is. I really believe it's something very different. We're going to do a workshop on that in June. You're all invited. up in Rochester, but we're not going to get into the money currency distinction. But right now, money and currency are two very different things. Money is something that lives inside of you. I think of the acronym as my own natural energy yield, MONEY, my own natural energy yield. Money is your sole purpose. Okay, currency is what you get paid for delivering your sole purpose, right? So these are all different quotients. Clay?
Are you familiar with adversity quotient, AQ?
Nope.
Yeah, they've written books about it. Just your ability to withstand and handle adversity, not just in business but in life, is a really strong indicator of how successful you become.
Wow.
So they study it for a long time.
So Clay was talking about there's an AQ. How do you handle adversity? One of the top qualities of level 5 leaders is they have high AQ. I know this because I call it calm in the storm. Calm in the storm. What you know about level 5 leaders is storm occurs, they're chill. They're calm. So early in my life, in my 20s and 30s, when storms occurred, I was easily disrupted. Now storms are typically a daily or weekly basis, not so easily disrupted. So that's great, Clay. Thank you for that. So you filled this in on page 9. You see the importance of evolving in the center, right? Because a rising tide lifts all boats, and a rising conscious awareness will let you see the areas in your life where you're letting your passion, your feelings, ruin how you're producing. You're letting your mind ruin how you're producing. You're letting your body just run away with itself and do whatever it wants to eat or drink. It's not conducive to long-term success, and you may not be managing your money properly. Now, I don't know any of this, but you enter yourself in here as far as understanding the point that when you are aware, you begin to see the things that you want to manage, and you want to take them on with a 1-degree shift. You don't want to try to make this massive shift everywhere in your life. It doesn't work.